Are you absolutely sure you know the XRP Roth IRA contribution limits for 2025? For thousands of Americans preparing for retirement, one hidden rule could quietly cost them more than they ever expected. Imagine saving faithfully for decades, only to find out that going just $1 over the limit triggered IRS penalties and unexpected tax bills. That single mistake could erase months, if not years, of growth. The truth is, most investors never see these rules until it's too late. The brochures don't mention the fine print, and custodians have no incentive to warn you. But this video will reveal what others won't say: the hidden boundaries that can trap your savings and punish your retirement. Stay with me until the end, because understanding these rules isn't just about avoiding penalties. It's about protecting the freedom you've worked your whole life to earn. Part 1. The dream versus the reality. For many investors nearing retirement, an XRP Roth IRA sounds like the perfect answer. The dream is simple: contribute each year, watch your balance grow tax-free, and step into retirement with confidence. Custodians highlight the growth potential, brochures display charts that only go up, and the message feels clear: more contributions mean more security. But that's the dream. The reality is far more complicated. In 2025, contribution limits are strict, layered with conditions most people never read. Go even a single dollar over the maximum, and the IRS doesn't forgive. It penalizes. What you believed was building freedom can instantly become a liability hidden in fine print. The harsh truth? The system isn't designed to reward your effort. It's designed to enforce boundaries that keep you vulnerable. And unless you know where those boundaries lie, your retirement savings could be silently eroded before you ever notice. This is only the beginning, because once we peel back the first layer, we see how the very structure of these accounts ensures institutions win while investors carry the risk. Part 2. The structure you don't see. Beneath the polished surface of an XRP Roth IRA, there's a framework most investors never notice. It looks like freedom. You decide how much to contribute, you decide how to invest. But in reality, every choice is filtered through custodians, brokers, and ultimately the IRS. The structure is designed to protect institutions first. Contribution tracking, paperwork, and reporting are not there to make your life easier. They're there to ensure the system always knows exactly where you stand. And in 2025, the limits on contributions are more rigid than ever. Even small missteps like adding money late, shifting between accounts, or misunderstanding income thresholds can set off penalties you didn't expect. What feels like flexibility is actually a cage with invisible bars. You think you're moving freely, but every step is measured against a boundary you can't see until you cross it. And once you do, the consequences are automatic. This isn't about saving more. It's about staying within rules designed to benefit others. And those rules don't just quietly monitor your contributions. They create slow leaks, hidden costs that grow larger with every year you stay inside the system. Part 3. The slow leak retirement savings rarely disappear in one dramatic moment. More often, they erode drop by drop, like a slow leak you don't notice until the floor is soaked. In an XRP Roth IRA, this leak shows up as fees, restrictions, and hidden consequences tied to contribution mistakes. You think you're adding value each year, but small miscalculations, exceeding an income threshold, contributing past the annual cap, or not realizing a rollover counts toward the limit, create penalties that quietly drain your balance. It's never advertised, but the IRS doesn't care if the mistake was intentional or accidental. The bill arrives the same way. And while you worry about growth, custodians and brokers collect their cut without interruption. They don't lose when you misstep. They gain. The longer you stay unaware of the leak, the more the system benefits at your expense. The most dangerous part? Most retirees only discover the leak years later, when the damage is permanent. By then, the balance you counted on has already been reduced, not by market crashes, but by rules that were designed to be invisible until it's too late. This is where the cracks in the dream become undeniable, and it's only the beginning of the trap. Part 4. The trap of fine print. Every contract has fine print, but in retirement accounts, the fine print is where the real trap hides. On the surface, your XRP Roth IRA feels straightforward. Contribute, hold, and wait for tax-free growth. But hidden in the details are exceptions, thresholds, and technicalities designed to catch the inattentive. The rules are written in language that feels more like a puzzle than guidance. What counts as a contribution? How do income levels affect your eligibility? What if you switch jobs or roll over funds from another account? Each answer is buried in footnotes, and one wrong interpretation could trigger penalties. The frightening part is that these traps don't announce themselves. You don't get a flashing warning when you cross a line. Instead, you find out months later, often through an IRS letter demanding payment. By then, the damage is already locked in. It's not an accident. The system benefits when you fail to navigate the fine print. The very boundaries meant to protect your savings are structured to punish mistakes and keep you dependent on custodians for interpretation. The more you trust the surface, the more vulnerable you become to what's written underneath. Part 5. Why the house always wins. Every system has a winner, and in retirement planning, the house is never you. Custodians, brokers, and regulators design the game so that no matter what happens, bull market or bear market, they always collect. The structure of an XRP Roth IRA proves it clearly. Contribution limits sound like rules to protect savers. In reality, they're barriers that ensure penalties flow back into the system. Custodians charge fees whether you're in profit or loss. The IRS enforces fines even if you cross the line by accident. The game doesn't punish the institutions, it punishes you. Think about it. If the rules allowed complete freedom, custodians would lose leverage, and the IRS would lose revenue. By keeping you boxed inside invisible boundaries, they guarantee their cut. Every mistake you make, every dollar that exceeds the cap, adds fuel to a system that was never built for your benefit. And the irony? The same institutions that set these boundaries are the ones that profit when you fail to navigate them. What looks like guidance is actually control. What feels like protection is actually exploitation. It's a game where the house always wins, and the players always pay. Part 6. Moving goalposts. One of the most unsettling realities in retirement planning is how the rules can shift after you've already committed. With an XRP Roth IRA, you may think you're playing by the book, contributing within the limits, following the guidelines, but the book can be rewritten at any moment. In 2025, contribution limits look clear today, but next year, new legislation, inflation adjustments, or IRS reinterpretations can move those boundaries. What was safe yesterday may suddenly be over the line tomorrow, and the burden of compliance always falls on you, never on the custodians or brokers. This constant shifting creates a sense of instability. You plan carefully, but the target keeps moving. The rules aren't static. They evolve to favor the institutions while leaving investors scrambling to catch up. And when you fall behind, the penalties are automatic. It's like running a race where the finish line keeps being pushed further away. No matter how carefully you prepare, you're forced to adjust mid-stride, and every mistake costs you time, money, and peace of mind. The stress isn't accidental. It's built into the system. And it sets the stage for the emotional traps that keep retirees stuck in cycles of fear and regret. Part 7. Mind traps. The most powerful penalties in retirement planning don't come from the IRS. They come from your own emotions. Fear, greed, and regret form invisible chains that keep investors trapped, often costing more than any written rule. When markets dip, fear whispers, "Stop contributing. Protect what you have." When prices surge, greed shouts, "Add more. Push beyond the limit." Each reaction feels logical in the moment, but one step over the contribution line can trigger consequences far greater than the gain. Custodians and institutions know this. They profit when you act under pressure because emotional decisions almost always create mistakes, and mistakes feed the system. Every penalty, every extra fee, every misstep caused by stress adds to their revenue. The cruel irony is that your emotions, meant to protect you, become weapons turned against you. Fear freezes you, greed blinds you, and regret traps you in a cycle of hesitation. And while you wrestle with doubt, the rules don't wait. They're enforced regardless of how you feel. This emotional battlefield isn't just about money, it's about control. And the only way to escape is to see how others have lived through the very same traps. Part 8. A retiree's wake-up call. David was 64 when he thought he had done everything right. Each year, he carefully added to his Roth IRA linked with digital assets, believing the steady contributions would guarantee a smooth retirement. His statements looked healthy, his custodian reassured him, and he felt confident he had avoided the mistakes others made. Then came the shock. A simple rollover he assumed was harmless pushed his contributions above the annual limit. Months later, a letter from the IRS arrived demanding penalties. David hadn't broken the rules intentionally. He hadn't even realized he had crossed them. But the system didn't care. The fine was real, the stress overwhelming, and the savings he thought were secure suddenly felt fragile. What hurt most wasn't just the money. It was the feeling of betrayal, trusting a structure that punished him for an innocent misstep. David realized the promise of freedom was fragile if he didn't fully understand the boundaries that shaped it. His story is a warning. You don't have to gamble recklessly to lose. Sometimes all it takes is one overlooked detail, and the retirement you've built can be shaken in an instant. Part 9. The choice between dependence and independence. Every retiree faces a decision. Dependence means handing over control, trusting custodians to guide you, and assuming the system has your best interests in mind. It feels safe, even comforting, because you don't have to question the rules. You simply follow them. But comfort often hides the cost. Dependence leaves you exposed to penalties, fees, and boundaries you never set for yourself. Independence, on the other hand, demands awareness. It requires you to question, to read between the lines, and to recognize that freedom comes with responsibility. Independence isn't about rejecting the system entirely. It's about refusing to be blind to its traps. It's about taking ownership so that contribution limits and hidden rules don't control you, but inform you. The choice may seem abstract, but it defines your future. Dependence is the slow erosion of savings, masked by reassurance. Independence is clarity, even when it feels uncomfortable. One path ends in regret, the other in control. The question is, which side will you choose before it's too late? Part 10. The final truth. Here is the truth most investors never hear. Contribution limits are not just numbers, they are walls. Walls built to protect institutions, not you. They look like guidelines, but in practice they are traps that penalize even the smallest mistake. One extra dollar, one overlooked rollover, and your retirement freedom is quietly eroded. The greatest danger isn't saving too little, it's trusting that the system will forgive your errors. It won't. The IRS enforces its rules without compassion, and custodians profit regardless of your loss. What you thought was stability can instantly become a liability. But knowledge is power. Once you see the invisible boundaries, you gain something more valuable than tax-free growth. You gain control. And control is the only real path to independence in retirement planning. Vision line. The greatest threat isn't saving too little. It's crossing hidden limits that can quietly punish your retirement. This is not about fear, it's about awareness. And awareness is the shield that keeps your future safe. You've now seen the truth behind contribution limits in 2025, how hidden rules can quietly punish your savings, and how even the smallest mistake can cost thousands. This isn't just about numbers, it's about control over the retirement you've worked your whole life to build. I want to hear from you. Do you believe most retirees truly understand the boundaries of their retirement accounts? Or are these limits designed to keep people confused? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice could help someone else avoid the same trap. If this video gave you clarity, share it with a friend or family member. One conversation could save years of stress and unexpected penalties. And don't forget to subscribe to XRP Today USA at XRP Today USA. Every day we reveal the fine print no one talks about, so you can protect your savings, grow your freedom, and step into retirement with confidence. Vision line. The greatest threat isn't saving too little. It's crossing hidden limits that can quietly punish your retirement. Together, we are building not just a community, but a shield against dependence.